Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Meredith, one of the PFAFF educators, and I'm so excited for you to be joining me today for our next live. I don't want to say we're only on Facebook anymore. I normally say Facebook Live, but we are live on YouTube and Facebook, so feel free to check us out on both. I want to give a shout out to Amy in the background today. It's just Amy and I today, so if you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to type those in the chat and she can send those over to me and we'll get those answered for you. If we don't know the answer, we will find it out and come back and reply to you. But I'm going to give everybody just a second to come on and sit down, and I'm going to go over what we're going to be making today. So we are going to be making this fun, quick and easy, y'all, keywords, fun, quick and easy little tote bag. And I did a circle handle on this one, but I'm going to show you a variation today. But there's so many different ways you could go about this. So I did a color block here, which I'm going to show you how I did this. You could do one full piece of fabric and you could add embroidery to it. You could do a school logo, a business, a monogram, a name, so many different options in that way. You could do a quilt piece. So like if you did a bunch of little squares, or if you had extra from some quilt project you were working on, you could cut it up and make it into this. It's very versatile. You can make it any size you want to make it. So I'm going to give you what I did for this one today, but feel free to expand off of that. Do the box corners different, make it taller, make it wider. So many different options you have. The possibilities really are endless. We're also going to go through adding the binding on the inside. So if you look on the inside, it has got the clean finished edges and even in the corners. Let me pull the corner out and I'll show you. We're going to go through. Look at that. Good, clean, finished edges. So lots of fun we're going to have today. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to just type them in the chat. Amy will send them over to me and we're going to get going. If you want to see something again, just let her know. We've got time today. This is a fun, I mean, they're all fun and laid back, but this is very chill. We're just going with it and we're going to go through the process of making it. So first, what we're going to start with is our pieces to cut them down. So let me show you over here. We have got, you need a two coordinating. Let me show you on this one. So I would consider this middle one my main piece, and then two coordinating pieces here like this. So you just need 3 pieces of fabric because you can interchange them. If you look, they're different on either side. If you want that middle piece to be the same, which is what I did on this one, let me show you this one. So these are actually my leftovers from the first bit that I cut. So for this one, my 2 center pieces are the same. Again, so many different options you can do. It's completely up to you. But you need at least 3, if you're going to go my route, 3 pieces of fabric. And these are cut to, let me get my little notes. I've got my notes over here. These are cut to 17 by 18. We are going to cut them down once we're done sewing them back together. But you need 3 pieces, and I have them layered right here. 3 pieces, 17 by 18. I actually have another one in here, but we're just going to do these here like this. I'm actually going to take that one out. 17 by 18 is what that is again. And I just have them layered, and we've got some wiggle room a little bit. So again, they don't have to be exactly on top of each other in that way. But what we're going to do now is we want to measure 4 inches from the middle each way, and then we're going to cut that down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long ruler here and line up 4 inches at both of my points right here. And then I'm going to cut on this side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And a little trick that I learned, I feel like I missed a piece. Nope, I got it there. A little trick I learned, always keep your hand that's bracing your ruler in front of your cutter. And then also, if you use your pinky, you can brace your pinky on your fabric and then your other 4 fingers on your ruler so it doesn't shift the way it would shift this way. So just my 2 little tidbits that I learned when I was learning to quilt one day. All right, then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to cut 4 inches again from that center point. Just like this. And I'm just roughly, I don't know if y'all can see my point down here. I'm just roughly getting it over here. Like that. And again, I'm going to brace with my pinky here on my fabric and my fingers here and cut, and then move my hand up and cut again. Just like that. And so you end up with 3 center pieces, and 6 corner pieces that are the exact same size. So just like that. So we're going to take 2 of these, and this is the fun part. I think this is like the best part here, y'all. You take these pieces and you put them together and you just find which way that you like. So we're going to do that one there. You could do it like that. I think the reason I had 2 of these was I was originally planning to do this one in the middle both ways. But you can switch them up like that. So many different variations. If you want the same piece in the middle on the back and front, you're going to want 2 of this, 2 cut of this size. So again, 17 by 18, and then 1 of each of your coordinating colors. Again, completely up to you. So many different options. But here we go, just like that. Now we're going to sew these 2 pieces together here. And then we've got our extra pieces that we can do something with as well. That's how I made a whole nother bag out of it. So let's go over here. And today I'm going to be using I've got it on here already. Let me pull it off to show you. The 1/4 inch piecing foot with guide. It has this fun little flange on the side right here, and it stops your fabric from shifting over. So it's a good little guide for you if you're new to quilting or just in general quilting as it is. So I'm going to take my center piece that I have here, and I'm going to line up my corners like this. You are working on a bias, you're working on a stretch. That's okay. You know, y'all, this is very easy. We're not making a quilt, and this is not rocket science. We just want these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to line up my corner here, and bear with me, I'm working behind a camera, so it's a little cumbersome over here. Then what I'm going to do, I've got my point lined up on my fabric here, right there on the edge. I'm going to put my presser foot down and make those little adjustments if I need to. But I'm going to get my fabric right along this flange, this metal flange guide here. And then I'm going to just make sure my fabric is lined up. I have it right sides together. Y'all can see that, right sides together here. And I also have my IDT engaged. And that is your integrated dual technology, the walking foot here. You want to have that engaged. And that's really going to help you also when you're working on the bias, because it's going to move everything. I'm going to put my needle in the down position. It's going to move everything together. So it's like having feed dogs on top as well as the bottom that you have underneath. And that's going to help everything move a little bit more smoothly together. You want to make sure you're not pulling this top piece either. So I'm just using a regular straight stitch. I turned my machine on and chose a regular straight stitch, and I kept it at the settings that it's at, which currently are right now a length of 2.5. So just a normal straight stitch, but I'm doing it at a 1/4 inch. So just like that. And I like to stop with my needle in the down position so that my foot raises up just a little bit so that I can make those adjustments and reline up my fabric over here. So just like that. Again, I'm being mindful not to pull my fabric because, again, it is on a stretch. I don't want to stretch my fabric. And then we're going to cut. So there's one piece there, and then we're going to move this out of the way and do the same thing on the other side. So lining up my little point here with my edge. Just like that. Put my foot down, make those adjustments. And what I did, actually, let me tell you what I did here. I hit the presser foot down button twice. So let me get my needle up and my foot up. So if you hit it twice, if you hit it once, it goes all the way down. If you hit it one more time, it rises up just a little bit so you can make those adjustments. So I love that you can make those little fine tooth adjustments when you get there. We're going to stop with our needle down. Just keep on going. All the way across. Just like that, and cut there. Okay, so let me show you. Now we have one big square again, like that. And you're going to do this 2 times. You're going to want 2 of these. So let's switch back over here. If you had another piece, you could switch out your middle, or if you wanted to do the same, whatever it may be. Then what you're going to do is you're going to press these open like this. Get your iron, press them open. For time's sake today and just for space, I didn't have space for an iron over here. So we're just going to finger press it. But again, being mindful not to really stretch it when you do the iron on it. But I'm just going to get this roughly so I can show you how we're going to cut this down. And if you look down here at the corner, you notice we've got a little bit of excess here on the side. So we're just going to cut this off here. So again, we're going to take our straight edge, lining it up along the one corner piece here, making sure we're straight there. We're going to cut off this excess. Just like that. And same thing over here. And then that's going to give us that good square finish that we need. So, and same thing over here. Make sure I'm all straight. And one more. Here we go. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. It's all right. We're just squaring up to have that finished size that we need right there. So this measures out to now, let me show you. I've got all my scraps over here. Let me move them. This measures out to 17.5 by 16.25, which is what I had in my head too. So your lining pieces need to be this finished size. So you would need 2 lining pieces that are 17.25 by 16.5. So we're going to have 2 of those as well. And then you want stabilizer and, well, not stabilizer, I'm sorry, sort of stabilizer. Let me come over here and show you. I've got a couple different, I've got all my steps completed so I can show you as we go. So for the outside pieces for this, I used originally, let's talk about this, what I did originally. Originally, I used fusible fleece on the front piece, and then on the lining piece, I used Decker Bond to give it some stability. I still think this could be a little bit more stable. I mean, it stands up well here, but I want it to be a little bit stiffer. So for this one today, I'm still going to use fusible fleece on this front piece. So you would get a, cut down your 2 fusible pieces that are 17.25 by 16.5 and fuse them to the wrong side of your front panel pieces like that, which I have already done here. Let me show you. I've already done that on these here. So I've got that on here already. And then your lining pieces, those are going to be the 17.25 by 16.5. But I used Interform this time for it. But I don't want all that bulk in my edge. So, oh, okay. Amy said lots of Texans in the audience today, and someone from Denton. Well, coincidentally, I'm in Denton. I live in Texas too. It's nice today, y'all. If you haven't heard, we've had really warm weather and it's cooled off a little bit. We had some rain come through, so it's beautiful, 80 degrees today. I'm loving it. We're going to get outside later this afternoon. But so my lining piece, I'm going to have 2 of those as well, and those are going to be 17.25 by 16.5. Again, this is completely up to you. You can make this any size you want. You just want to make sure when you get to your finished sizes that they are the same. Your 2 outside pieces and your 2 lining pieces, those all 4 are the same. But I'm going to use Interform for this one, and I did this 1 inch shorter on each side. So my Interform, you need 2 of those. Those are going to be 16.25 by 15.5. So it's 1 inch smaller. And the reason is we don't want all of that bulk in our inner seams, especially because we're going to use the quilt binder today. We don't want all of that bulk in our quilt binder, or just when you're sewing it in general. You don't need that in your seams. So I fused, and this is fusible Interform right here. It's double-sided. I fused one side, and again, I just centered it in my piece so it's 1/2 inch shorter on each side. So any questions on that so far? So we've got our 2 outside pieces, 2 inside pieces, our 2 lining, and then our stabilizer, which is the fusible fleece, and the Interform, fusible Interform. So once you do that, you have your fusible fleece on the back side of your main pieces. And this is the fun part. This is, well, it's all fun, but this is another fun part, quilting. So I just did straight line quilting on both of these. These are 1 inch apart. You can probably see it better on the black here. These are 1 inch apart here, and I just did lines, diagonal lines, and quilted them through. So I'm just quilting with my fusible fleece and my main piece. I don't have my lining in there yet. We're not going to include the lining in the quilting. So I'm going to do a little bit more of this quilting to show y'all. I have my lines already drawn down here, and we're just going to keep going because I want y'all to see again how awesome the IDT is and how it makes taking this quilt sandwich and just moves it through so smoothly and evenly. So let me get my thread under my foot here. We're actually going to take this one off, and I'm going to put on, really doesn't matter which one, we're just going to put on this one here. So I've got that center line to use as my guide here. I'll put this on here. And so this IDT that's in the back here is just grabbing and moving everything at the same speed that the feed dogs underneath are moving it. So it's going to move it all smoothly, and you're not going to end up with those puckers and those ruffles. Another little tip that I have is always when you're quilting, start in the middle and work your way out so that you're pressing your fabric out if it does bunch. You don't want to start in a corner and then go all the way to the other side because it could shift your fabric just a little bit as you go. Another option you have is if you have what I did on my first one, if you're doing more quilt blocks versus the color block that I did on this, you could do stitch in the ditch. So you really don't even see your quilt lines. It goes in between your seams. So there's another foot that has that metal flange right in the middle. And I'm just going to do it on this one. It's a little bit further than I need, but we're going to do it for this one just so y'all can see how easy it goes. Put this up for a second. Come on. Sorry, I'm working behind my camera there. There we go. And so if you put that metal flange right there in between your seams, you can sew along. And your stitching is going to go right in between your two seams you have. So let me finish this one and I'll show you this one. So if you do quilt blocks and they're all different piecing, little squares, whatever it may be, and you want to do quilting this way, this is another great option, a variation to it that you can do as well. No, for this one, I did not. Y'all, we're keeping this simple and easy. So, got a tail there, but my stitching is right there in that seam. And I just have a regular straight stitch, number 1 selected from utility stitches, and it's at a 2.5 length, which is what it presets at. So many options you can do for the quilting as well. Any questions on the quilting so far? Because I've got my next step. We're going to keep going. So next step is, let me move this out of the way. We want to make our one side. So I have one already done here. Have you tried free motion quilting? I have not, but I did think about that today. That would be a great option. It would be a really good opportunity if you have not free motion before to practice free motion quilting all over. I think that would be a really good idea. I have one side already done. So with this one, what we have here is we have our main front piece that's already quilted. And then we have that wrong sides together with our lining piece. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Cut our hole and sew it all together. I just wanted to have one ready to go so we could keep it going. All right, so let's switch back over here. I'm gonna get a quick drink really quick. Move all my extras out of the way. And what we have here, we wanna put these two pieces right sides together. So this is my outside piece here, and this is my lining piece with my fusible inner form on it. Again, there's a 1/2 inch extra, or a 1/2 inch smaller is what this is all the way around. So we want to put these right sides together, just lining up all the way around. And I showed y'all one option that I did with a circle. My very first one I did it like a little oval here. And all I did was I just took a piece of scrap tearaway or paper that you have and just cut a little oval. Make it as symmetrical as you can and put it right there. For this one, I wanted to do a little diamond. So we're going to switch it up a little bit here. Again, super easy to make. I just did a little cross hatch here. And then I measured out, I think it was... Here, let me just measure it. I can do that. Here we go. I measured out on the side over here from that center. What is that? 1, 2, 3 1/4. And I put a little dot on my line. And same thing over here, 3 1/4. And then this one here, I go up and down 2 1/2. I wanted it to be more elongated versus symmetrical in that way. So that's what we have here. And then I did those 2 dots and I just matched up those dots all the way around, just like that. So then what you're going to do, you're going to take your piece here and we're going to measure from the top. And I did that at about 2 1/2 inches, which, here's my ruler, it's underneath all my samples over here. 2 1/2 inches down. Again, completely up to you. It depends on the size that you make your bag also. If you make it larger or smaller, if you make it larger or smaller, you can place this wherever you want, but you definitely do want it in the center here. So I did mine at 2 1/2. I wrote it down, 2 1/2 inches below the top line. So I'm going to line that up there. And then since this is, what is it again? 16 1/4. We want 8, or I'm sorry, finished here. It's 17. Yeah, 17 1/4. I apologize. I was looking at my inner form. 17 1/4. So it's going to be 18 3, or 8 3/8 right there, or 3/4 right there. So I just needed to scoot it over. I got it pretty close right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I had it out. Where did it go? There it is. My little marking pen here. And we are going to mark our little diamond. Just like that. There you go. And there it is. And so now what we're going to do, again, we have these right sides together. We are going to sew along this guy here. So switch back over here. And I'm going to, again, switch my foot here. Raise this up a little bit. Switch this to my 1/4 inch. Because what I did on my original one, hold on. What I did on my original one was I lined my lines up at a 1/4 inch. And so I sewed a 1/4 inch on the inside of my diamond. So we're going to line that up right about there, put my needle down in my fabric. And again, when you do this, I'm glad I said this because let me look. You want to make sure that your sandwich here is still lined up in the corners. I had shifted a little bit, so I'm going to scoot that over so that I'm all straight over here and everything's lined up. Just like that. And then we're going to sew all the way around. And again, having that IDT engaged, I've got a little bit more thickness here. It's not thick as in like hard thick. It's more thick as in just because I've got the inner form here. And get there to that point. I've got my needle in the down position so that my presser foot rises up. I'm going to go one more stitch. And then I can make those easy adjustments right there. So now I'm going to go down this way. Again, making sure I'm all lined up here. That's what I'm double checking that my corners are still lined up and not shifting on me. Go one more. And one more here. And you can back stitch a little bit if you want to there. And then go forward and we're going to cut that. So now we've sewn this right here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this center piece out. So let me switch over here. So we've got this here. I'm going to just fold this in half like that. And I'm going to do a little snip right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, I'm going to get to that point over there, and I'm going to cut all the way through. So I'm cutting all the way through here. Don't be scared to do this. And I'm going to leave like about 1/4 of an inch extra as I go around. So if you see that there, I'll finish cutting the whole thing so y'all can see it. And again, just roughly cutting around it, not cutting your stitches as you're going. Like that. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take my little, let's see here, got some other smaller scissors. We're going to want to just snip right there into my corner so that when you flip it, you have a good turn and you don't have a lot of puckering there. So just snip just a little bit. Be careful not to clip your threads on all 4 corners. And one more. Just like that. Then what we're going to do, got my scraps over here, we're going to take the outside piece and we're going to pull it through, or the other way around, whichever way. We're just going to flip them in on each other. And look at that. And again, you would get your iron and press this out here. Move this. Just like that. But again, for time's sake, we're just going to keep going here. So there's your little hole right there. Super quick and easy like that. Did all of that make sense? Again, I had my right sides together of my lining and my outer fabric piece. I did my little diamond. I sewed it on, or I did my lines, then I sewed around it and I cut the center out and I flipped it in on itself. If that doesn't make sense, just let me know and we'll go through that again. But now what we're going to do is we're going to sew all the way around this to hold it in place. So, and I did it close to the edge over here, but really it's whatever distance you want it to be. This would be really cool also if you wanted to do your quilting with decorative stitches. That would be really neat as well. And we're going to stop there at our point, needle down, but then I can easily turn it. And one more. There we go. And cut that there. There we go. Let me show you here. So here we go. Here we have our little hole now. Now what we're going to do is we don't want this raw edge up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this under and clip it. If you have an iron also, it's easy to press it, but we're going to fold it over and then clip it all together. So let's switch over here and I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to top stitch across the top and hold it in place. So I'm going to start with this bottom piece or the lining piece here. And I'm going to fold, just clip to hold this piece in place. And it's probably about just maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, but it's really whatever. It's probably more about 1/2 inch that I've got folded over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the top part as well. And then just switch our clips out. And you can get your iron and press this as well. If that helps you get it more even and smooth, feel free to do that as well. Make sure I've got that here. And one more here. Make sure I've got that lined up there. So just like that. So now I've got that lined up all the way across, and we're going to sew across this top piece. All right. Again, it's up to you how much you want to do it. I'm going to do it a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, but you just want to make sure no matter how much or little you do it, that you're grabbing both pieces enough under. So if you don't have as much room to fold under your fabric, then definitely make those adjustments to be sure to catch it. Because then once you're done, your fabric will still flip back out and you'll have that raw edge there. And we're going to take our clips out as we go. And again, I'm just lining everything up, making sure we're straight on the sides here. Have any questions or anything? Are y'all following along? Is this all making sense? Let me know. If not, we definitely have time. I can show you something again if you need to. And all the way to the end. Just like that. Very easy. So here we go. So now I have 2 pieces that are exactly the same. I've got them quilted. I have my holes. I have it top stitch along the top. And now we have these raw edges. So what we want to do is we want to put these right sides together like this. And this is where it really comes into play, the not having that inner form, because you can feel when you get all of this layered together, that's a lot that's going to have to go through the quilt binder, and it's just too much. So we've got a little bit of room to do our quilt binder here. So I'm going to get my quilt binder set up, and I'm going to let y'all watch me do that. If you have questions about the quilt binder, feel free to type those in. It's been a little while, I think, since we've done anything on it. So the quilt binder comes in this little box right here, this purple quilt binder. There is a regular quilt binder, and then there's a 5/8 quilt binder. So you can do a double fold if you would like as well. I like, for just my craft projects like this, just to do a single fold. So it comes with this plate here, and it's got 3 little holes. So, and then it's got this little piece that sticks out. We're going to put that piece right here in that little hole. If I can get it lined up. There it is. And then it comes with 3 screws, 2 washers. Yes, so this is recorded. All of our lives are recorded. So you can go back and watch them on Facebook. We have them on YouTube. You can always go back and ask questions. If you're coming in late and you have to rewatch from the beginning, that's fine too. Feel free to type in those questions and we'll get those answered for you as well. But yes, all of our lives are always there for you to go back and watch. This would be a great one to have on hand if you are making it, because then you can like press play, plus press pause back and forth as you go to just keep up with doing your steps as well. But it's pretty simple. So we're going to take one of those 3 screws and put it in this back piece. And I'm going to put the foot on. It also comes with a quilt binder foot. So this is the foot, and it also has one of the little metal flanges on the side. I'll put that guy on real quick. And I love that it has the opening for the IDT as well. How do you do a queen size quilt with the binder? You can definitely do a queen size quilt with the binder. The majority of your quilt is going to be over here to the left. So you can easily do that. You would want an extension table. I don't have my extension table on for today. You would definitely want an extension table on to just hold up that, or have a lot of table space over here on the left side. But there's definitely plenty of space to do a quilt binder, to use the quilt binder and do a quilt. So next you have this other piece here, and this opens and closes here so that it fits in the box well. So we're going to open this piece up here. And what I love about this also is, I'm hoping y'all can see this. Let me see if I can get right there. Do you see those numbers? That tells you what size your quilt binding should be. So it can be anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 1 3/4. I like to just do 1 3/4. That's just what I do for my binding when I'm using the quilt binder. You can definitely do smaller. So I've got my washer, and then I've got my little screw, and I'm going to just loosely put these on. I'm not going to tighten them down yet, because we're going to have to make some adjustments probably. So I just roughly get this lined up. There's the little opening where it loops around here. You want to get that roughly lined up with where that flange is at on the foot. Just eyeball it, and then you just finger screw these on. They don't need to be super tight or anything, just enough to hold it in place. Then we're going to get our binding, which I have over here. One second. It's underneath all my other stuff I've already shown y'all. So I have my binding strip here. And again, this is just 1 3/4, and I sewed a bunch of pieces. These were all scraps that I had left over from when I cut my lining pieces. So I just sewed them all together on the diagonal, and then I pressed them one way. Another little tip about using the quilt binder is when you put your fabric through it, you want to make sure that that fold, you see the fold when you have your 2 pieces joining, that it folds to the right. Because when it comes through this little loop right here, you want to make sure that it's going with it and not pushing against it. So another little tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my end piece, just fold it in half here, and we are going to cut it at a point. Let me cut that and I'll show you. So just like that. Then we can sift it through here. So first I put it through right here. And then what you're going to do is you can take some pointy tweezers, or if you have a stiletto, or really just anything, and we're just going to push it through. There's a little slit right here. Guide it through here. Once it comes through, we're going to grab the little tail and pull it underneath. And it's going to sandwich in. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you can see that. And I have this facing the wrong side to me. The fabric here is, oh, let me back up. I was hoping I could scoot it over and show you. I have this facing wrong side right here, and the right side is out, so that when it folds, it's folding in on itself. So if you can see that there, here's the 2 fold pieces. There's 1 and there's 2, and that's going to give you that fold right there. And there's our good clean quilt binder fold right there. Really easy. So once you get it through there, then we're going to loop through this guy. And you want to make sure that all of this binding is not going to get hung up on something, that it's off to the side, but that it's got enough slack to move through. Then this is where we're going to make a few more adjustments. Once you have this through here, you can get a better gauge for if you need to make those adjustments so that your fold, zoom in so y'all can see this here, so that your fold, up, there we go. Let me hold it here for a second. Your fold is guided up with that metal flange we have right there. So if that does not make sense, let me know and I can see if I can show you that at a different angle. But once you get this lined up, then we're going to tighten it back down in place. Again, just finger tight. It doesn't need to be cranked down. Just like that. Then what we're going to do is we've got our 2 pieces here. I have them right sides together, and we're going to line them up. I'm going to start a little bit further down, and there's a couple reasons for that, because you're going to see this top piece right here. Let me show you. And we're going to fold it under. We're going to come back and fold that under and stitch that down. So this is where we're starting right here. So line these up, and we're going to start just a little bit down, but we want to have enough tail as well. So let me get this in here. Hold on one second. Line these up. And you can pull your binding out a little bit too. You want to have a long enough tail up here that you can fold under so you have a clean finish. But we can roughly put it on there, and then we're going to shimmy it into place. It's kind of like going back and forth, but when you're working around the camera and the pole that's holding the camera, it doesn't want to move as easily. So we want to make sure that our sandwich here that we have is all the way up here into this little groove that we have. You want to make sure it gets up in there. Once you get sewing too, it'll fall into place easily. There we go. Oh, come on. Hold on a second. Don't try and force it. Just pull it out and then make those adjustments. And fold it under here. Sorry, y'all. I wish you could see how I'm having to hold this to do it at a weird angle. Okay, hold that under there. We are actually probably going to clip this into place to sort of hold it while we do this. shimmy this back in. Come on. Because I'm right here at one of my seams that I put back together. It's not wanting to fold back in right. There we go. We're getting there. Bear with me. Okay. Let's try that again. There we go. All right. So if you look right in here, let me show you. I've got my binding right here, and the edge of it's there, and I've got the edge lined up with the flange here, and I've got this all the way in the groove over here. So, can you sew the two pieces together before using? Yes, you definitely could. For time's sake, you could definitely sew these together with a basting stitch just along the edge at 1/4 inch, and it would hold them together. Just for time's sake, I know that I wasn't going to have time to do that and then still get through everything with you guys today. But again, I'm using just a straight stitch, and I'm going to make a few adjustments. I already started sewing, but the reason I do that is I want to get it held into place. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my needle position. You can adjust it. So if you need to move it closer to your binding, this is great if you're actually doing it on like a quilt project or a wall hanging. You can make those adjustments with your needle to get it closer to the edge or the other way. So I'm going to scoot it just a little bit to the left. But this is the inside of my bag. Nobody's going to see it but me, so it's all right. And we're stopping with our needle in the down position, making sure that we're keeping our sandwich up here the whole way. And just keep going. And when we get to the corner, we're going to sew all the way to the end. So all the way to the end, and then we're going to cut our thread. And this has already done the work for me folding it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a little bit here, and I'm going to finger press this in place. Because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my mitered corner. So let me get this out of the way here. So I'm going to do my mitered corner here. And I like to make it look like a little T, or I had somebody say on a live once, like in paper airplane, this little piece right here. Let me back up a little bit, if I can back up some more here. And we're going to tuck it right down into place just like that to get that mitered corner. And this does not have to be perfect. This is actually a great opportunity to practice your mitered corner, because guess what? We're going to cut it off actually. So it does not have to be exact. We're going to cut it off to get our box corner here in a minute. So this is a great chance to try it. And if you don't like it, you just cut it off. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my straight pins and we're going to put it right in here. Another little trick I have is the back side. You want to make sure the back side of your binding is more in than the front side. So when you put your pin through, we're going to make sure to grab the front and the back. Oh, so I let it out. Hold on. And then just pin that into place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shimmy this back into place here. And we're going to put our needle down in that corner right there where our two corners for that mitered corner meet. If you don't want the mitered corner, can you just sew off? Yes, you can completely just sew off the end. That's probably for time's sake what I'm going to do on this next one, just so we can keep going, because you're going to cut it off anyway. If you look at the inside, we end up cutting off a good little corner of it. Let me show you to do that mitered corner. So, but please practice doing the corners. If you're not comfortable with the corners yet, this is a great opportunity to try doing the corners. So don't be afraid. Just try it. It's fun, promise. And once you get the hang of it, you'll be like, why was I so scared to do that? That was my thought for a while. So we're going to do a couple stitches there. And then once we get going, I'm going to pull my pin out and keep on going, making sure our sandwich is all together here. And go all the way down. Make sure we're still all lined up here. And again, all the way to the end. We're just going to cut there. I'm going to show you my corner one more time, just so y'all can get another visual of it. We're going to pull this through and finger press what it's already folded for us here. And then put it right together to get that mitered corner there. And I use a little bit of glue also. I don't have any on me today, but if I was actually doing this on a project, I use just a little bit of glue on both sides to hold it in place as well. It won't hurt anything to do that. So that'll give you that mitered corner right there. And we're going to pin this in place. Just like that, just to hold it in place till we get sewing. Then we're going to shuffle this back. See over here, pin. There we go. And this bar, Amy, I'm going to have to do something about this. Y'all, if you could see, let me show you this. My camera bar is right here in the way of everything, and it's pushing everything that I'm trying to show y'all on it's pushing the whole bag. So bear with me here. You don't know about these things until you go live because I'm obviously not sewing, making this around a camera when I'm making up my samples. So you live and you learn by experience. The joys of live television, y'all. All right. Make sure this is staying flat there. And when you get about 2 to 3 inches from the end, we're going to stop because we want to have that clean finish over here. Somebody says, what size needle are you using? I'm just using, I believe it's an 80 or a 90 universal needle. It's nothing special. The inner foam is really, it's really squishy, so you can easily make it go there. So I'm going to pull this out here. Let me show you here. And I'm going to cut. Got a long enough piece there. And we're going to come over here. And then what you're going to do, I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. We are going to fold this raw edge in just a little bit, just like that, or until it lines up with your edge of your bag there, like that. And you may have to play with it a little bit to make sure it's folded the right way and your binding is folded as well. Then what we're going to do, we're going to take a clip and just clip it in place just like that. And same thing over here. So fold that under just a little bit more and place it around the end. Just like that, and clip in place. So then we're just going to come through and finish sewing these together here. So let's take our quilt binder off. We do not need our quilt binder for this, but I'm not going to undo everything. I'm just going to I'll show y'all. I'm just going to take this piece off here. I'm going to leave this on because we're actually going to do, probably not on the corner, so there's not enough space. I'm just going to do it on this. So right here. Get this lined up. Come on, cord. There we go. I'm going to move my clip down here just to hold it in place a little bit more. So put our needle down. Maybe I'll get my foot up just a little bit. Our needle down right there in the edge at the top, and then put our foot down. Make sure we're lined up with our edge of our flange here. What is the difference between the 5/8 and the half as far as how they work? So they work the exact same way, but the only difference is your fabric is folded in half already. So you have, Amy, do you know what it is off the top of your head? I don't, hold on one second. Let me see, I've got the other one over here, the 5/8 one. Get it out of my box and I'll show you what it is. So this one wants you to have it at, so that would be 3. So you want, is that the right? Yeah. You want 3 inches worth of binding for this one. For the, again, it's the exact same. So here's the 5/8 one. There's no difference in it. The only difference at the bottom is you're not folding in. Let me show y'all. Let me see. So this is the regular one, the quilt binder here. And if you look here, it's got 2 ways that it's folding under. I don't know if you can tell right there. Do you see that other little piece right there? So it's folding both the bottom and the top under because you have your 2 raw edges. But with the 5/8, which is the double fold one, you don't have that on the bottom where it's folding that under because you already have your raw edge. Or you don't have that raw edge. You have your finished edge because you have it folded in half. So you're going to do 3-inch strip folded in half for the 5/8. Yes, Amy's right. It's 3 inches for the 5/8, and you have it folded in half, and that's what you feed through. I just don't have a 3-inch strip on me. I'm sorry, y'all. Otherwise, I would show you. But that's a good point for our live for next year with the 5/8 versus this one. So you have it folded in half, and you're going to want the folded part on the bottom because the bottom's not going to fold under and the top will fold that raw edge under. So that's how you get the 5/8. Does that make sense? If not, let me know. I will let you make sure I've got my right one here that I'm doing. Okay. So let me finish showing these together here. Hold on, get going here. Needs a little help. And you can use your stiletto or your fine point tweezers to make sure that your binding is folded under as you go. And once you get going, it'll go. We're going to sew all the way, not all the way, but just to where we had started sewing. You can back stitch them forward if you would like. Lock it in and cut it. So that's what you're going to do on both of your side pieces here. For time's sake, I'm going to keep going to we're going to do this corner real quick, and I'll come back around and do the others in a little bit. But what we're going to do now is we're going to make our boxed corner to give it that flat bottom. So if you look here, you get that flat bottom to get your boxed corners. So let's switch back over here. Got all these quilt binders and everything all over the place now. Okay, so for my box corner right here, we're not going to worry about that corner piece that I missed on the back side a little bit there. But what you want to do is you want to feel on the inside where these 2 guys are lining up so that you have a good clean. You see how I've got a good line there? This one over here. You're just going to feel for that. I've got my other hand in it so I can feel for that, lining it up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip it or pin it in place. Just like that. And this is completely up to you how far down you want it to be. If you want more of a box corner, you're going to cut further up. If you want less, you're going to go further down. I think on this one, I did about, I think it was 3, so it would have been like 1.5 inches. But what you can do Let's get this out of the way. You're going to get it flat like this. Get your straight edge ruler. And I measured, I want to say it was probably about 2 inches from the point. So I've got 2 inches right here lined up with the point, and then take your marking pen and just draw that line roughly like that. So you've got that line there. See if you can see that. And then we're going to sew all the way across right there. So let's get this under here. And you could do a reinforced stitch here if you want, or you can just do a straight stitch. I'm going to go forward and backward here at the end to lock that in there. Make sure that gets under there, my binding there. Got the screw in the way. And then just cut that. Then what we're going to do, I have to get a drink really quick. So we're going to cut this corner piece off here, and then we're going to put binding across the top there. So, and I'm going to leave that probably at about a 1/4 inch excess there. Cut that off. Let me cut it and I'll show you. So just like that. And then we're going to add binding here to the top. Really easy. And I took my binding out, of course, so that I could show y'all the other foot a minute ago. So what I'm going to do, because if you still have it in your binding, I just did that the wrong beat. If you still have your binding strip in your quilt binder, let your quilt binder fold it for you. Like we don't need to do extra work. Let it, let your tools work for you. So let's put this back on really quick, just so we can get our little strip in here. Push this through here. I know we're just about at time, so bear with me here. And we'll about 5 minutes over, and then we'll be about done. So once it folds it through, just finger press it here. Again, it's going to be in the inside of your bag. Nobody's going to be looking at it but you. And even then, I really don't even notice mine. I'd have to really look. So let's cut my little tail here. See, somebody asked a question. So when you purchase the binder, it comes with instructions. And would you use the 5/8 for quilts? So yes, it does come with instructions. Let me show you. It comes with this little fold. And y'all, we have had this quilt binder for a couple years now, and we have used it on so many different lives. So go back and look on our YouTube channel, look on the Facebook page under the video section. I know Mickey's done one. I'm pretty sure Nancy's done one. I've done one with the quilt binder. So you can get tips and tricks from all of us, but there are great picture instructions for doing it as well. It's really easy to use. It really is. The part where people, I think, get frustrated and just sort of throw in the towel is on the corners. But if you understand the process of putting the mitered corners together, it's really easy. It takes some little finagling if you have a camera arm in the way, but it's actually really easy to do. I actually really enjoy doing mitered corners on the quilt binder. So for the 5/8, if you want to do, I'm not a technical quilt person. I know a lot of people really want that double fold quilt binding on there. While I'm talking, I'm going to put this all together so I can show you. I know people really want that technical double fold binding for quilt shows, things like that. But if this is just for you, or it's just a gift you're giving to a family member, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a 5/8. You can definitely do, I've done both. I've done a 5/8 on a quilt, and I've done a regular, the regular quilt binder on a quilt. It's really up to you. I'm not too picky about my quilts because I'm not entering them in a quilt show or anything like that. But I know some people do. And I know people that enter them normally do their binding by hand as well. So just depends on what you're doing it for. But yes, they do come with instructions. So let me get this little corner on here first, and then I'll show you what I've got here. So I've got it folded under here so that I don't have the raw edge of my binding. And then I'm just going to, it's sort of already done for me because I finger pressed it when I put it through that quilt binder. Cut this off here. Eyeball it here and fold under this edge like that. Get it in the camera view, sorry. And to lean it up against me. So just like that. And then you can just clip it into place. Let me get a few more clips. And so I get my 2 corners done, and then I can go back and I can finagle these other parts just like that. And if you wanted to here, which I probably should do, but I'm not for time's sake as well, you can cut away some of that inner form to reduce some of that bulk, but it's going to go through this. Just no problem like that. So, oh, wrong one. Here we go. So I'm going to take this quilt binder off again here. And it comes with a little Ziploc baggie. Be sure to put those screws and the washers in that baggie. You're definitely going to want them, something to keep them in so that they're not, you don't lose them. I'm going to put in, I'm going to just leave that one on that I had here and take this guy off. Oh, see, like that. See, don't lose your screw back there. So again, I'm using my quilt binder foot that came with the foot, and it's got that flange on it. Raise my foot up a little bit. Let me move all the stuff here and get it under. Just like that. And if you have a stiletto or some sharp or pointy tweezers, use them to hold it in place here, making sure that the bottom stays in place as well. And then you can get your needle down like that. Get a back stitch here, hold it in place. I'm gonna clip out. And when you get to this big bulky seam, you may have to sort of like push it just a little bit because you do, I mean, it's pretty thick here. It's going to go through it fine, but I need to make sure that it's still progressing and you're not just sewing in place. So just like that. Okay. Let me get this here and I'll show you. Let me cut my little strings here. And I will show you. So here we go. There is our good, clean, finished edge. And I just used the regular quilt binder. I'm going to fold this right side out so you can see it really quick. But I still have to do that other side. Finish that top part. And then just box out my corner. But I know we're running out of time here. Amy, will you send me our next, oh, look at her. She was reading my mind. I was about to ask her for the next My Sew Net Live so I could tell you all about it while I flip this. So our next My Sew Net Live is next Wednesday. It is with Kathy Fromm. She is going to be going through lettering, all things lettering and fonts, creative things with it. So if you have been looking at the software or you don't have software yet, I know most people get into embroidery and sewing to do personalized things and whatnot. So this is a great opportunity. Kathy's going to be showing you some basics, but then also going a little bit more in depth. So if you do have software already and you are familiar with doing fonts and whatnot, this would be a great live to join her with. So here we go. There's our one finished box corner like that. And there it is. And I like how this is standing up a little. It's standing up a little bit stiffer than my other one did. So again, different options with Decker Bond versus Interform. Just a really good stabilizer along with your fusible fleece to give you that quilted puffy look. So any more questions on this? Y'all like this? I hope y'all enjoyed this. It's something a little different than we normally do. We wanted to switch it up a little bit and show you something more of like a fun project versus just a technique. So if there are not any other questions, let me see. So our next PFAFF Live also is going to be November 2nd. We won't have one for the second half of the month, This is our only one for October. We're going to do the next one is going to be November 2nd. And that is with, y'all are going to be so excited because I know I am, Nadine Connect, one of our ambassadors, our FAFF ambassadors. She's going to be going live on our page on November 2nd at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. And she is going to be creating a very timely, put those quotes around timely, project for doing a fun holiday and doing a fun holiday trunk show. So getting y'all ready for the holidays. It's crazy to think that we're already talking about November and we just started October, but it's definitely going to be one you're going to want to join. Again, if you are coming in late to this one or you would like to watch any of our past lives, you can find them under the video section of our Facebook page, or they are now streamed on YouTube, but they're all on YouTube as well. You can find them there. So if y'all have any other questions or anything like that, just type them in the chat and we will come back around and answer them. But thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next week for My Sonnet and in a few weeks for FAFF. Thank you.